All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to give these guys a proper introduction, and then we're going to go ahead and put them under the spotlight. So I'm going to start with Mr. Wade Bourne, or I'm going to start with Mr. Bodie McDowell, actually. As you witnessed the other night, he's one of the newest members of the National Freshwater Hall of Fame, and he is SEOPA's only living founding member. That deserves a round of applause right there. He had a distinguished career as outdoor editor of Greensboro, North Carolina Daily News, and another with the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission. There you go. Bodie McDowell. All right, now Mr. Wade Bourne, don't let his boyish grin fool you. He's older than he looks. Give me
our card back.
Either that or he joined SEOPA when he was 7. He's been a full-time freelancer since 1979 and is perhaps best known as the co-host of Ducks Unlimited TV. He also hosts Wired to Fish and Hunt Radio and is the senior editor at Bassmaster Magazine. He and his wife Becky reside in Clarksville, Tennessee. There you go. Alright, Mr. J. Wayne Fears, and I don't think we have enough time to mention everything, all his credits and accolades, but as you may have read in the program, he started his career when the Wildlife Resources Program he developed at the University of Georgia was published as a feature article in the March 1966 issue of Outdoor Life magazine. 29 books and more than 5,800 magazine articles later, I'd say J. Wayne is off to a good start. He joined SEOPA in 1968 and did his time as president in 1974.
And I'm as old as I look like I am.
Mr. Glynn Harris. Oh, Mr. Glynn, he loves music, but he realized pretty early on that he'd starve if he depended on his guitar to make a living. So he did the next best thing, and he turned his love of fishing, hunting, and all things outdoors into a career. He's been awarded with more than 50 SEOPA awards in the newspaper, magazine, and radio categories. And I'm just kidding about his guitar playing. He's a great picker, and you'll hear from him tonight. All right, there you go. And Mr. John Phillips. And I think I'd say Mr. John is about as energetic and innovative as an outdoor writer gets. He's one of the best marketers in the business, and he has so many pseudonyms that his wife, Denise, pretty much just calls him world's greatest. And she's more the brains of the outfit. John was among the first in the business to have his own website, and he makes it a point to stay on top of all the high-tech trends, or at least he acts like it. If you want to know how to get ahead in the business, just ask John, and then he'll call Denise and get you an answer. All right, now we're going to turn it over to Mr. Bodie, and he's going to put him under the spotlight.
I think we ought to just get up and move back there.
He taught in a preacher school, one of them divinity schools. And, I mean, Beth was just about as straight-laced as you could be, and very pretty and very much fun, and she was a great little girl. Beth was tall and Stephanie was short, and they're still that way today. And, and anyway, so we were sitting at this table, and I was sitting here, and Denise was sitting there, and Stephanie was here, and Beth was over here. And next to Beth was John Sloan. I don't know how many of you know John Sloan. And so we were talking and cutting up, having a good time. And so somebody called a meeting to order and says, "All right, now all y'all be quiet. We're going to have the prayer." Okay, so we bowed our head. And in the middle of the prayer, something, what happened? Beth, and so I closed my eyes and went back down. And I said, "Beth, what happened?" She said, "You ain't gonna believe this." I said, "What?" She said, "Halfway through the prayer, that man that was sitting next to me started rubbing my leg." And of course, John was just tickled to death. That just made the conference for John. And so that has to be one of my standout moments, you know. But the other thing was one of the first things that Wayne told me was you had to go to SEOPA and POMA and the SHOT Show every year. You know, if you're going to learn, and said Meet all the riders you can and learn everything you can from those riders. And in that same year, he was teaching a seminar on the business of writing. I never knew that there was a business called writing. You know, I thought that's something you did to feed your ego and tell folks everything you thought you knew. And so he started explaining how much it cost to get an article and how much you spent and how much you made. And if you didn't keep up with that, you go broke being an outdoor writer. And I found out that was absolutely the truth. So it wasn't 6 months after that. I was trying to learn all I could. I went to one of these Writers Digest seminars where they bring in all the big editors from all the big newspapers and magazines and everything. And the conference I most wanted to go to was one where the editor of Outdoor Life, Field and Stream, Sports Field, and a couple other big outdoor magazines were. I sat on the front row, and I knew Vin Sperano, who was the editor of Outdoor Life at that time. And so we're sitting there, and they opened it up for questions, and the first guy in the back raised his hand and did like this, and Vin said, "Yes, sir, what do you want to know?" He stood up and he said, "Mr. Sperano, I understand that some of these outdoor writers get these little bombs, and they put these bombs on bass, blow them up out of the water, and they take a picture." and he said, "You don't buy any pictures like that, do you, Mr. Sperano?" And so I started raising my hand. I waved, and Vin said, "What, John?" I said, "Let me answer that." I said, "Bubba, you ever thought about how long it'd take an outdoor writer to tread water holding a camera and shoot a picture of a bass jumping and have the bass and the fisherman in focus?" I said, "If you know where to get them bombs, I want about a case." And so after that, we went to lunch, and I sat down beside the editor of National Geographic, and we got to talking. And I said, "Well, you know, one thing I've always wanted to do was paddle a canoe from the headwaters of the Mississippi to the Port of Mobile and write about all the people I saw and did along the way." He said, "Great idea. I'll give you $10,000. $10,000 scared me to death. He said, "We're going to send, you don't have to worry about taking pictures. We're going to send a photographer along with you." I said, "Oh, this is great." I said, "We'll do it." He said, "All right, just send me a letter when you get home and we'll send you the contract." I'm thinking, God, this is a chance of a lifetime. This is going to be great for my credentials, National Geographic and everything. I'm thinking about this for about 2 weeks, and then I got thinking, it's going to take me a year to do that. I'm going to spend at least $1,500 a week buying something to eat and, you know, getting supplies and all that. When I get down there, I'm probably going to be $10,000 in the hole besides the $10,000 he's going to pay me, and my family's going to starve to death. So I'm the only outdoor writer I never know that ever turned down a $10,000 story for National Geographic because I'd lose money.
Once on my first book, and then one morning I hit the wrong button and it ate the little floppy disk, and I lost those 2 months of work. And you got to keep up with technology. But the main thing is to keep an open mind and to look for where the opportunities are. You know, their newspapers have removed the outdoor writers from their staff. If they still have outdoor writing, with a few exceptions, the whole is a lot smaller. Magazines have changed, but at the same time that's happened, the internet's all come on, and there is money to be made some kind of way in writing for websites. I know John's heavily involved in that. Just look for opportunities. They're still out there. We still have as many people hunting and fishing today in the United States as we have. The industry is as big as it was. The money seems to be tighter now with some sponsorships and things, but still, there is money to be made, and there are opportunities to be seized upon, and you just got to be forward thinking and observant about what other people are doing. And you know, I've done a number of seminars over the years to talk to writers, not necessarily outdoor writers, but I just tell them writers are like farmers, and every farmer plows his field in a different direction, but they can all grow a crop. And so don't be afraid to explore and to determine how you can make something work that maybe somebody else hadn't realized, but just seize the opportunity.
Wayne?
Well, I'm all about mentoring, like John said. You know, Charlie Elliott, Charlie Dickey, Fred Bear. I can name a lot of names you folks know. When I didn't know squat about squat, these people took me under their wings, and I learned from them. And I agree with Wade. This business has changed tremendously. 50 years I've been in it, but mentoring still works. You know, some of my mentors now are a lot younger than me. Josh Wolf could be my grandson. I learn every time I have a conversation from Josh. He teaches me something. So, you know, find people who know what they're talking about and do what they do well and get to know them. That's the shortcuts. And another thing Wade said I have to agree with, there's still a good living to be made. You know, we all talk about outdoor writing as a dying profession. Well, it ain't dead yet, believe me. Me and John still feeding 3 generations, so there's still a good living to be made. You just got to do a few things right.
It's meant the most to me during my career is back before it actually started. In my mind, I wanted to be an outdoor writer, and so I remember one time I sat down and I wrote a story, totally fictitious, but it was a thing of beauty. And I decided, now what am I going to do? I don't want the, you know, the big 3 to be fighting over it. I'm going to ask the only fellow that I really know that might could help me direct it to the right magazine, Chris Gresham. So I sent him my story. And I could not believe, when I look at it now, that he actually answered me. And I asked him, where do you think I should try to place this first? And he kind of let me down as easy as he could. And the nugget of information he gave me and stuck in my mind, still does today, is that writing is hard work. Said if it's, you know, any profession, like John said a while ago, whether it's a plumber or whatever else, you've got to work at it. It's a craft you have to learn. That really did something to my ego right then. I thought I had it all made right then. But I took that advice and backed up and started over and kind of have followed that good sage advice from a fellow, Chris Gresham, that has helped me down through the years.
I'm a product of mentoring, and I'm a product of mentoring others. Stephanie Mallory and Karen Lee, who's in here somewhere, those are 2 of my children. They both were working with me and mentored by me. And but what most people don't understand, they always say, well, John, why you always got these young kids and everything? Let me tell you what I've learned, and this is how you tell what the future of our profession is going to be. Kids in college, however they communicate, however they make buying decisions, however they talk back and forth to each other, whatever vehicles they use to be entertained by, is the way the world is going to be communicating in 5 years. And if you don't know what those college kids are doing and how they're communicating with each other, how they're getting information, how they're making buying decisions, you're going to be out of work within 10 years. So the young people in college and high school that I bring in and they come to work with me to be mentored and to learn and that, they give me as much, if not more, than I give them, because through them I can see what the future is going to be, and I can begin to adapt whatever I'm doing to be ready for that future when it gets here. So if you want to know what the future of outdoor writing is, you hire you a college kid to come in and work for you part-time. Their schedules are going to change and they can't work 40 hours a week, and there's a lot of reasons, but they're really the eyes into the future. And not only that, they keep me pumped up. They always want to know more and learn more. And the things I want to learn, I say, look, I'll buy you the book, go read it, learn how to do it, and then show me how, and then write me an idiot-proof manual so that when I forget what you taught me, I'll still have a reference book to go back and do it.
How to turn the remote on.
That's it. That's it.
Okay, now you guys have a vision for SEOPA as it embarks on its next 50 years.
Oh, boy.
If we don't change, we will die. If we don't find a way to recruit young people and share our enthusiasm for our craft, this organization won't be here. And our number one focus has got to be, how do we communicate with young people? And the answer is, start mentoring young people, and they'll teach you how to communicate with them and their peers. And you know, we're in an organization, and I'm not telling you nothing you can't see. Just look around the room. We're dying. And if we don't become more active with young people, not only do they hold the future, but they can all hire us later.
All I can say to what John said is ditto. totally agree that, you know, a lot of us, I've been a member of this organization for 39 years. We have some of the best friends I have in the world are in this organization, but we're old graybeards now for the most part, and you don't see nearly the number of youth. Now, this little young lady right here has inspired us all, I think, Whitney, with the start that she's made, but we need more like that, and, you know, let's all do the job of recruitment and get young folks. We know people in high schools and colleges that have an aspiration to write, and tell them about SEOPA, get them encouraged, and get them involved in organizations like this.
Only thing I can add to that is amen. You know, you take Whitney, Josh, Steph, you know, the next generation is coming along. As long as we include them and embrace them and learn from them, you know, this profession will continue, and SEOPA will evolve into what's required for the next generation. So what these guys say, and I totally agree with.
I think the future of SEOPA lies in going back to drinking and fighting. Becky, but my wife would die if she heard me. Strictly for a laugh. No, I don't have anything to add. It's, you know, we've got to look at youth and figure out how to incorporate their ideas into our organization. You know, we're not going to be here too many more years. I'd like to think 40 more, but we're not going to make that. No. And so it's, you know, youth and technology, and to keep up with the trends in outdoor. The outdoors not going away. Outdoors going to be here. Not just, you know, there's a push toward bicycling and hiking, but hunting and fishing are going to stick around as long as we have good old mid-America and you know, farm families, and it's still going to be there. I've seen so many young people whose parents don't hunt or fish take an interest in hunting and fishing. Just, you know, college-age kids right now, and I don't know why that is, but it's kind of cool in some circles. And I think there's something that's deep within our souls that tell some people to take that gun and go to the field, or take that rod and get on the water, and that's going to continue. And I'm optimistic about the future, both of our sports and of our profession. We're just going to have to learn to evolve with the trends and the sports, and it lies in youth and technology. A blend of the old and the new, the technology and the old sports and the old traditions and values and conservation ethic. And that's where our future lies, I think.
What SEOPA has done for me, I can't put into words. I mean, I came here, and there aren't a lot of kids my age that are here, but once I got here, people that are older than me just started talking to me and accepting me and asking about what I do, and I'm talking to them, and I just feel like I've gained so many relationships here that will follow me all throughout my life, and I just love being here with you guys. And a way that I think you guys can reach out to kids my age is to always be by their side, always being, I guess, by the phone if they ever call and say, hey, where's a good fishing spot, or where's a good hunting spot. Just always have the information that they want and the information that they need, because it's a great feeling to know that I have people like you guys just a phone call away, and I can just talk to you guys about anything and everything whenever I want to and whenever I need to. So really just, I think you just always need to have an open mind to kids that are my age, and you have, and I appreciate every single one of you guys, and I love you all, so thank you.
And shot a hog and brought it back and talked the hotel manager into letting him hang it
By the swimming pool.
by the swimming
By the
pool.
swimming pool.
All right, I was remembering in the atrium.
And the people
Yeah, I
were
thought it
in,
was an entrance, yeah.
And skinned the hog
Right, in the hotel.
in the hotel with guests coming and going, and we were all, were you there, Liz?
I got another picture, and look really closely, you can see the hotel logo, I think it was Ramada Inn, and
Uh-huh.
it let a shower curtain down.
Ramada Inn.
Yeah, well, that's right. After they laid a curtain, I said a tarp, but it was a shower curtain on the floor to catch the blood and the hair and skinned a hog.
I think it was Evan's 70th or 75th birthday.
I don't know.
People went running to.
That was before Wayne took over and took it. Ruined it.
Any other questions?
Let me add a little bit. The hotel manager helped skin it.
Do you get your toupees?
I got the best glue in the world. Look at him. My barber about a month ago told me that I had more hair for an old man than she had ever seen, and I said, well, thank you, I guess.
Any other questions?
Let me give one tip.
Okay, hold on.
This is a business tip. You know, everybody wants to write the big high-profile story, and I'll bet these guys are gonna agree with me on this. I judge every story by how much I'm gonna make on it in an hour, an hourly rate, an assignment. If I can write a piece in 2 hours and make $400 on it, sitting in my office, maybe one telephone call, that's a whole lot better than going out and spending 2 or 3 days in a remote area and taking a lot of photos and coming home and writing that story.
That's survival.
That's putting the bacon in the skillet.
I think one of the biggest mistakes that I made starting out, and I see more and more writers make, is they don't know what they're worth per hour. And the way I found this out, and that brought it home to me real strong, I had a fellow come knock on my door and say, Mr. Phillips, I want to cut your grass. I said, okay. You know, it's a couple of years ago. So how much you going to charge me? He said, $75. I said, is that to cut the front and the back, or, you know, just the front, or what? He said, that's just the front. I said, let me think about that. He left, I went and got the lawnmower, cut that grass in cut it in an hour. And so I figured I was worth $75 an hour cutting grass. So, you know, the one thing, I hear all these people talking about all the money they make in writing books. Well, they figure, well, if I got the book for $2 and I sell it for $10, I made $8. But they don't count the amount of time it took them to write it, to research it, to shoot the photography, to package it, to take it to the printer, to do the corrections, to mail it off. And if you add all that up, they make between 35 cents and 40 cents an hour. And the economy of writing is what kills most writers. And it's the reason they turn around and they say, well, I wrote all these stories, but I ain't got no money. So, you know, Wade's exactly right. You got to know what your time's worth.
We are worth as much as attorneys are. Attorneys charge, what, $125 to $300 an hour, $400. We can make the same money. You know, I have a column for Bassmaster. Nobody from Bassmaster here, are they? It's called Pattern of the Month. Probably some of you have read it. I've had some comments on it. And I had to work up to this now. I mean, it took a while, but I can write that column. I make one phone call, it takes about an hour. I can write that column in about 3 hours, and I make $700 for it. So that's a half a morning. That's a great job. And if you can get 2 or 3 or 4 things like that lined up, I mean, and they're not all gonna be that good, but a little piece on the internet, a 300-word piece, what can you, $50, $75?
$50, $75.
That's a pretty good 30 minutes. You know, and you line up your steady stuff and you build your foundation, and then you grow from there. And then you can, once you've got regular income, you can kind of figure your budget, and you can reach for a higher rung on the ladder once you have that foundation. But analyze what those jobs are worth, and how much you're gonna make.
I just thank you for all the time that you put into not only SEOPA, but the people that are involved in SEOPA, and you've helped me in plenty of ways, developing relationships, learning writing skills, and so thank you guys very much, and thank you guys for coming.
Oh, thank you.